Today we're going to use tarot to help us find a lost item. We're going to use Celtic Cross to help us with this. We're going to use a deck of our choice. I'll get into more about this later. And then as a bonus, you might want to bring out a pendulum for this. So like most spreads, I like to map mine out. For this, I'll use the blank template. A link to this is in the video description if you want your own to print off, or you can just write it on a piece of paper. That's cool too. So when I map out a spread, I like to start with the question. So, where is the lost item? And when you're doing this for real, you're probably going to want to enter the name of the thing. It might be a wallet, it could be a ring, piece of jewelry, something that someone is possibly, has lost and really wants to find. Usually it's a small thing, it can sometimes be larger. I generally spend time looking for small valuable items. So you can use it for anything. So I don't want to say that you can't use it, but this is just for a thing. We'll go over how to look for people in another video, but for now, let's just worry about an item. So just picture it in your mind, what it is that you're looking for. You can be specific. Where is so-and-so's thing, blah, blah, blah. That's your question. And then we will map out our card positions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I do mine a little out of order, possibly to you, but just do whatever works. Obviously, first one, we've got present situation. This should tell you, it should describe the situation. It should say that obviously something is not there and we need to find it. Card position 3, we're going to say that this is going to show us what prevents us from finding it. Card position 4, usually the recent past. I'm going to modify this to say, did someone else handle it? After you lost it. This can be really helpful if you did lose it, but somebody found it and maybe put it somewhere, or maybe somebody took it. Like, these are all important things to think about when an item has gone missing. Card position 5, where the querent thinks they lost it. Card position 6, usually near future, it will hold for that, but I'm also going to modify it to say, like, what's the next thing to do? It's nice if we can get some direction, if possible. Usually when someone consults tarot for something, like practical problem solving, it's like, okay, they want instructions, like what should we do about it? So the design of this modification to the Celtic Cross is intended to help facilitate that. So giving all the possible details within obviously the standard confines of each traditional card position. Card position 7, show me through images the items that surround it. That sounds like something that would do more, be more appropriate for card position 8. However, because card position 3 and 7 blend together, what if it's like among other items, right? So these two can work together to answer that question. Card position 8 will be what else surrounds the item. Does a person have it? External influences, right? Card position 9. Oh, this one's fun. What kind of lighting surrounds it? There's some cards in the deck. that have very obvious inside outside, dark light features. So that might be really helpful for us. So we're looking for all the possible details to help us find it. And then finally, card position 10, will it be found? Question mark. All right, so have the positions mapped. This is what we're going to focus on while we shuffle. Today, I'm going to use my favorite lost item deck. Why? Well, this is the Smith Rider-Waite Panorama version. And we can do a deck tour of this sometime, but basically it's your traditional deck, but with more stuff around it. So if you have like a borderless, that sometimes has a little bit more detail around the edges. This one just stretches it out. So you see like just more areas. So if we, what's a good one? Okay, here's a good example. Usually you only see this part here, but now we have this, what looks like a wardrobe over here, and then this brick wall. These are unique features for this deck. That might be a good clue. Because that's what we're looking for here. We're looking for an item, we need clues. This is unlikely to be something that matters, but sometimes these cards have animals on them. So this one has like a cobra. Might not be useful unless the geography or surrounding items could have snakes in there, or if the item itself is kind of serpentine, that's a possibility. Some of them are not that much more enhanced, but you know, the traditional meanings apply. So, oh, and the like end cards in there, and that one too. Whoops. So we're going to use this deck to shuffle. We're going to think about the lost item. We're going to do a spread. And then you can kind of see how this kind of all comes together, and then you can use it in your own practice. All right, we shuffled. And because it's panoramic, I'm not going to deal it like this. I'm going to cast it like this, like a controller. I'll put this over to the side for a sec. I'll put this over here. There's only so much table space, so we'll start. Card 1, card 2. I take card 3 from the bottom. That's just my thing. Card position 4. Card position 5. Oh, looks like they forgot it maybe while they were at the cottage or on vacation. That's just stuff that's come to my mind at the moment. The truth is, I don't even know what this is. This is an example spread. I wasn't focused on anything, so it's just like a demonstration, honestly. 2, and will it be found? Okay. Interesting. So we can already, so the first things you want to do is start working through your verification to make sure that you have the situation, you cast correctly. If you're good about not letting things like doubt get at you, then you probably don't have to worry too much about getting the right cards. But sometimes if you feel maybe it's not the exact right cast, you can try again. I don't recommend it. So just go with what you have. And if it looks like these cards are concurring with the situation that's been described to you, great. This one, because I didn't make anything up, I'm just going to have to like shoot from the hip a little bit. But what I'll do is I'm going to sit with this and I'm going to think about each card in its position. I'll think about it as a whole. If any of these are kind of speaking together, we'll do our blending with these and these. And then, yeah, I'm seeing like lots of swords, and yeah, this should be interesting. All right, so what I'll do next is I will put it up on a screen, and then we'll work through each one of these card positions in a little bit more detail. And then you can see how this might be adaptable for your own practice. Here's our spread up on screen, and we'll go through each one of these cards. So our goal is to locate the missing item or gather enough clues to equip our seeker with so that they can find it. In this scenario, we don't know what the item is, and we can't ask clarifying questions because the client is imaginary. We are much less concerned with the subtext of the cards, So the client's unlikely to care about the spiritual implications of the cards. So please set yourself up for success by sticking to the intended result as your focus. We want tarot to trigger our clairvoyance, to show us where this thing is hiding. If you don't need cards for this, then skip the cards. But for many of us, the cards are an assistive device to enable those flashes of insight. So attune your reading for that purpose. When you do this on your own, go through each card and take your time with it. Look at them all together. Then, if you have time, go away, let them cool, then come back, look at them again with fresh eyes. Just do whatever you need to get you in the zone and start having those flashes. As always, the purpose of card positions 1 and 2 are to confirm that we have a good cast. Here we see that, like through that 9 of Swords reversed, that we're trying to fix a problem or apply a solution. So the person is aware of a problem and they're trying to fix it. So we check that box. That's a pretty good sign in terms of verification. They really are worried about losing this item. Interestingly, sometimes this reverse card will tell us to look under the bed, so that might be another clue for us as we move through the spread. That Knight shows us that not finding this item will prevent something from happening, like a trip or not even be able to get somewhere. I would almost venture that these could be like car keys or something physically required in order to go to another place. I'd also guess that this situation involves other people and that there's going to be problems if this item isn't found soon. The cards have confirmed that we indeed have a problem to solve, and it's stressing our seeker out in a big way. The High Priestess reversed in this position means very simply that they can't remember where they put it or the last place they saw it. High Priestess reversed also has a sound to it, like a vibration or a ringing or like that weird high-pitched sound you get in your ear sometimes. If this was like a lost phone we were looking for, the reason it would not be able to be found is in part due to maybe it being on silent. So when looking for objects, High Priestess reverse is coming in to talk about memory and or sound. The first modification of the spread is in card position 4, that is normally a recent past position. We don't need to know what events led up to this if our goal is to locate something earthly. So this modification keeps the past element, but also tries to get some specifics if possible. The phrasing of this question implies a yes or no response. Those are not the easiest to discern sometimes. You can use your personal insight in combination with this, which for me, I would say no, nobody else had this item after the seeker decided it was lost. For me, the Magician reverse can also talk about locked situations, so something unable to move could be relevant. Also helpful here to know is the Hebrew letter associated with this card is Beth, meaning container or house. If this card's trying to show us a past event, it could mean that they turn the house upside down looking for it. Perhaps our Magician in reverse is suggesting that we need to be looking outside the house. This card position is helpful if you think the seeker might be somehow unable to see things clearly in their current emotional state. This is oftentimes the greatest value you can bring as a reader that usually takes 0 psychic horsepower, letting them talk it out. If our seeker thinks that the items in the house, keeps looking in the house, is consumed with the possible consequences of not finding the thing, perhaps they have not been able to think about other places the item could be. This 10 of Cups is a tough card at the best of times because it's hard to see who's who in the situation, and it doesn't play well with other cards. Since I was using the Panorama deck, my cards have a little more on them than that can be used for this context. This card also has a picnic happening off to the side near a pond or lake, so those might be helpful clues. It's another reason I really like using a panoramic deck, just because there's a little bit extra to work with. So I would use this as support for the argument that the item's not in the house. Our seeker needs to stop deluding themselves that it is. And if we believe something, really hard, we can almost convince ourselves that it happened. So that's a possibility here. The creation of an unintended false memory that's keeping us from getting where we need to go. The modification of this card position attempts to show us how we can influence a future state. Most people who seek assistance from tarot with a problem like this are looking for solutions, whether they understand its best purpose as a tool of insight or not. So telling someone it looks like it will or won't be found is not good enough, in my personal opinion. There should be something they can do to help themselves here if they choose to. When looking for practical help with physical or mundane matters, you as the reader need to focus less on why this is happening and why are seekers experiencing this, and more on the visual clues. You basically have to strip your assessment down to the really literal stuff, such as the case with this card. If we ignore the concepts of a person's inner foundations or expectations around a community or event, we can just look at this as a where card or a stage card, as Pamela Coleman Smith describes it. If you have a stage card, you can look at it like a place. Ultimately, this is outside. The card is telling us to look outside. If we were at a party or something, we could also try looking there. If our seeker remembers being near posts or some kind of gazebo or canopy, that also might be a good place to look. This is an aggressive modification that hopefully returns the most helpful information. Forget blending this card, because if your goal is to locate an item, the seeker might not care about the deeper spiritual meanings, so just save your energy and your breath. This card is either exceedingly simple or damn near impossible to translate to literal terms or literal items. I'm going to roll the dice and say that there's a dog nearby to the missing item's location, and that can help serve as a marker for when the seeker goes out searching for it. There's only a couple cards in the deck with dogs, so if this one came up in a card position that demands actual clues, I'd go with that as a possibility. This can be a tricky one because our court cards can mean that a person's involved or we're dealing with aspects associated with the court member. Since we ruled out the involvement of another person in card position 4, I'm looking to events or conditions that the King of Swords reverse might be standing in for, and looking for common themes among those cards to support that. One of the best resources out there for this purpose is a book called Understanding the Tarot Court by Mary K. Greer and Tom Little. Cannot recommend that one enough for getting good handle on the people of the tarot. While relying on established and common meanings is a solid approach, we do as readers, we work in tandem with the spirit of tarot. So meaning that of 100 possible meanings for the King of Swords reversed, one's going to stand out in your mind as appropriate for the situation. In my case, I felt a presence of logic and structure applied here. And in the book, I saw the words, quote, dealing with rules and regulations, end quote, which then triggered an image in my mind of a bylaw sign at a park. You know how you see various do's and don't signs in public spaces that are backed up by some municipal bylaw? I'm getting a clear image now of a situation, and Tara's filling in the scenery to help us look in the right place. I'm now becoming confident that the item is in an outdoor public area that might be near a picnic area or a dog park or all of those things. The other very aggressive modification that I'm overwriting this card position for my needs, but it can make all the difference, is in a missing items case. This one's really simple. Either it's dark or it's light. And I'm getting an out in the open feeling from this. Also hard to avoid possible context clues. Perhaps there is some fee-paying sale of items or asking others for money happening in this place. Also, it sounds weird, but this triggers a duck feeding image, and all of which continues to support that a park is it's where this lost item is. And finally, the most important card of all, will it be found? Card position 10. This is phrased like a yes-no question. So if you get a clear yes-no kind of answer here, like the Emperor for yes or Ace of Wands reverse for no, great, you can roll with that. But you're probably going to want a little more than that. you're not likely to get something that cut and dry. So you can approach them in your own way. Since we have a court card here, it is possible that another person can become involved. This sharp and observant helper could take the form of a child or a younger person who's willing to help you find it. It could be as simple as asking such a person nearby if they've seen your item, which the cards have already said you haven't, but asking a question can prompt another person to look on your behalf. If you don't ask, you don't get. Using the bridge card of card position 9, so that's 6 of Pentacles, that crosses the tentative future, card position 6, into the longer term future. So this might involve the giving and receiving of help. The seeker is encouraged to ask for help. Ultimately, it could become a situation where the seeker might also use social media or written communication to facilitate the finding of the thing. The reason I say that is because the panoramic deck has several swords on the ground near the page, implying several separate attempts and a bit of trial and error happening before the final location of the item happens. If you have a pendulum or any small weight that you can suspend from a chain or a string, a necklace with a bit of a weighted pendant is perfect. You can use your personal magnetic sensors to help guide you to an object. Pendulums and dowsing in general have origins in extremely mundane work. Finding water sources is the most well known. I'm sure you've seen people pick up a nice stick and use that to douse. The tool responds to those micro reactions in your body. If you have a pendulum that swings or dowsing rods, either of those will work, but I'm going to speak to the pendulum method here just for this video. If you have dowsing rods, you can use them with similar principles. So, when you're looking for an item and you've nailed down the general area it should be, I'll gently swing the pendulum back and forth and ask it to show me where the thing is. If the pendulum starts swinging in a direction, follow it in that direction for a few steps and then stop and do it again. Keep swinging and thinking about the item. If the direction changes, follow it. Basically, you're going to follow it to the destination. You'll know you're there when it doesn't move or change directions. It'll just stay in kind of neutral, that back and forth. It is simple, but it's powerful, and I promise you this works. The magic's not in the item, but in the user. No matter what deck you go with, my best advice is to pick one that has lots of imagery and map out your spread. There's a link in the video description to a printable Celtic Cross layout that you can print off and use. It's a good way to focus your intentions as you shuffle because you can keep looking at the card positions to reinforce what you need to know. Cards 1, 2, and 4 will tell you if you have the right cast. If you're reading for another person, they will be things that you can say are correct or not. Your goal is to find an object, so you need to direct tarot to give you that information. Ask specifically for visual cues. This spread is full of opportunities for tarot to deliver, so use those images to construct the scene. Your abilities should latch on to the images and fill in the gaps. So this is definitely a mundane goal, but with the spiritual element attached to it. It'll work if you don't have kind of strengthened abilities yet, or if those are still in development. It's still going to work, but the idea is that it will help trip your psychic sensors and kind of give you those pictures in your mind, I guess. When in doubt, add an extra method such as dowsing. If you want a sanity check before you deliver a conclusion to your client, you can use a pendulum to confirm that you're right. If you're looking for something physically, use a pendulum to guide you to it. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Tarot is so much more than a spiritual gauge and can be a powerful tool for different purposes. So don't let yourself be limited to how others say you should use it. Your word is your wand.